She lies on her back in the snow, staring heavenward. The sky is a vast white eternity, stretching endlessly above. And for a moment, she feels she is falling, let loose from the tyranny of gravity and tumbling upward into the pale abyss. Her chest rises and falls, and she watches her breath go up and dissipate into the ether. Her outstretched arms form small cotton-gloved fists at their terminus, and they rake the snow as she brings them to her body. She's in a sparse winter forest, trees all around her, naked now in the cold, vulnerable. It occurs to her that she's in the middle of a great arboreal graveyard, where the headstones rake the sky with fingers blackened by rigor mortis. A gentle breeze blows freezing powder across her face, and she sucks in a sharp breath through clenched white teeth. The fine snow settles on her eyelashes, and she focuses on it, the sky blurring now as she tries to pick out the minute framework of the individual flakes. They are too small. They melt now and disappear onto her cheeks as she blinks them away. Her weakening heartbeat thunders in her reddened ears. The forest so quiet around her that the breeze becomes a hurricane wind, shrieking through the trees' twisted cadavers. It occurs to her that this is also her grave. Frozen ground, insulated from the heat of a hidden sun by so many layers of isolation. The white veil of a cloud, the thin shelter of dead trees, the 18 inches of snow and packed ice cradling her body. She begins to feel slow, rhythmic vibrations shudder through the earth beneath her, like the footsteps of a deliberate giant. They feel distant at first, but they are advancing. In a moment of crystal clarity, she realizes she is dying. She is terrified, but her cooled body is reluctant to feel the fear with her. Adrenaline tries to shoot through the hardening tunnels of her veins, and fails. She begins thinking of all the things she'll never do again. Banal things like brushing her teeth or drinking a glass of water. She tries to weep, and the tears freeze on her face. The air won't let her pity herself. The vibrations are stronger now. Her body quakes to their echo. She closes her eyes and tries to comprehend her end. There's no escape in her mind. She begins to feel that floating sensation again, and behind her closed lids, she begins to forget things. Memories crust over with a thin rind of white frost. Icicles grow floor to ceiling over her childhood, her mother's face freezing over so that her eyes lose all color, and her features become chiseled in ice. The giant's footsteps are crashing all around her now, and she is tossed helplessly in their timber. The banshee wind howls and her heart pounds, and then all is still. She opens her eyes, very slowly. The lids stick at the edges, lashes frozen together. She looks up toward the sky again, expecting to be greeted by the endless pale. "Oh," she says weakly. Towering above her is the giant. She stares dumbly up at it, her iced-over brain trying to understand what it is seeing. It is titanic, as big as the sky. She can see all of it in perfect detail. God, she can even smell it. A fecund cocktail of wet earth, fresh meat, and animal vitality that stings her cold nose. It walks on 2 massive legs, and it is everything. Her eyes drink in its immensity. Tree roots covered in matted fur curl between the exposed bones and sinew, studded here and there with great mossy boulders. Green and brown undergrowth covers its body, and she can see life moving amongst it. Squirrels leap between the trees high up on its chest, while below them, deer graze. It isn't looking at her, and for a moment that's all she wants. The fear is gone, replaced by awe and base desire. She wants it to see her, to acknowledge her existence. She needs a witness to her life. She knows that if this thing knows she was alive, she won't really have died. And so she musters all of her remaining strength into a savage cry, putting all of her fear, her rage, her desire into it, letting it tear out of her body like a brutal birth. Her scream echoes forever. The beast stands above her, swaying slightly in some wind that only it can feel. And then it turns and looks down at her, and she sees its face. It has the visage of a great skinless bear, its eye sockets filled with an orange light that drips embers, the flames of which become ash long before they reach her. Great curving horns protrude from the sides of its skull, and from its brow sprouts an impossible rack of antlers. It stares down, its fiery eyes fixing her in their gaze. Around its head revolves a ring of stars, as though the sky is celebrating its presence with a vestment cut from its own flesh. And she realizes that this thing is the sky. It is the stars, it is the earth, it is everything. It reaches down toward her still form. She makes no move to get away. Its hand is covered in bark and fur and moss and fungi. It stretches one massive gnarled finger out, and she reaches out her tiny gloved hand to meet it. As their appendages touch, every nerve ending in her body explodes with sensation. Every synapse in her brain fires, and in the moment of her death, she finally understands life.